We're hoping for good weather. Dan Banjock has worked over 2 years on this P51. He's about as excited as I've ever seen a human being, and so am I. And I hope somewhere in the course of this tape we're going to get some footage of his flying his new plane, or some footage of some really terrible weather, one or the other. Mustangs. We've planned our whole week of work around having some time off this Saturday so that we can basically give Dan a hand with the first flights of this plane. But in the meantime, we got to get some work done in the shop on our own project. I have a brand new, never been run Jet 60, and I want to do the preliminary fitting of the header, the tank, the pipe, the spinner. Basically fitting in the powertrain. Now I want to have the new motor set up in here, and I also want to have one of the old ones, so I have both choices at all time. The new motor that I got from George has a center mount needle, the old one has a rear mount needle, but we want to have it so both of them are all set up and ready to put in a plane. And of course we'll do a break-in run on the new one before we actually use that or fly it. For anybody not familiar with the joys of tune pipes, anytime I set up a new tune pipe setup, I get all my equipment out and make sure I have plenty of spare couplers and all the little things that you think you're never going to need. You get to the field and you need them. Remember those sanding sponges from a couple of videos back? The 2000 grit is great for taking little oil spots and things off the header. So I see if you have this material in house, look how nice this brings it right up. You want to polish up your header before using it. The 2000 grit. I'll put a couple of the tips that I've found real helpful in dealing with tune pipes. If you bought a new header and you haven't serrated the edge, you can do this with any number of ways. Parting tool, sandpaper this way, but you want to make the last inch or so of the header rough so that the coupler gets a good bite, or otherwise it's going to slide right off. Just a couple of things that we've learned over the years playing with the pipe system. Even though I've got serrations on there, I want to make them even deeper. Because if that coupler comes off in flight, it can really get messy. Things a lot of people overlook if they're setting up a new tune pipe plane. See the knurl on the back, no matter what motor you have, they have a good knurl. And what they do is you take a spinner back plate like this, and it's smooth. Ooh, no good. So what I want to do, it's got a knurl everywhere, it needs a knurl here too. And I do it like a sunburst. Now this is just going to be to do a test setup here, but even so, I don't want to have a smooth surface there. That prop comes loose, even on a test bench, can lose an eye. Now what I'm trying to do here is just get this set up for the test bench, for the break-in. Ooh, that one feels like a good one. I'm not kidding, they're all good. Give you another really good tip. Whenever you have an aluminum to aluminum contact area on these spinners, these are Aero product spinners. Now obviously we need to polish one up. We have the carbon backplate if this plane needs it for the trim. Obviously it's a trim feature. A little bit of oil in between those two pieces, just a drop or two. before you seal it up. By the way, another thing's just been a surprise is this 2000 grit on a spinner. Now we're going to do one of these from scratch. This one's already been polished, so it isn't a fair test, but I need to make a new 2-blade and a new 3-blade, and boy, that really leaves a nice shine. All the spinner fits, everything, so I know when I go to put this in the airplane, this is the clearance I'll be dealing with. Needle valve location clearance. Ooh, that just feels like... See, I haven't flipped an engine over in about 7 months. Ooh, this feels good. Well, the original fits that we set up look like they're going to be pretty accurate, even especially the spinner fits. Brand new, never been run. Still has to be broken in. Ooh, that sounds nice. Now this is just a mock-up of one of the prototype pipes. We're going to be making a pipe just for this plane, so I'm not going to fool with this part of it right now. Right now I want to try to get set up to break that engine in if possible. One of the things it's real happy to have is President Nixon here. Hold on. I have my little test bench here, and I want to go outside or find somewhere. I got to see if it's raining. See if I can get some, maybe a gallon or so, 3/4 of a gallon of fuel through this motor. Now I'm using this session to test a couple of things here. This is some tubing I got from Noldrindeck. It's lightweight, high temperature silicone, and it's very thin and very light. Much lighter than the stuff that is very common in the event. The heavy blue stuff that you need 4 or 5 zip ties to hold it on. So we don't know until we fly it, of course, but that it held up for, you know, 3 or 4 of our little test runs. I also am testing the first time. George sent me down some special gasket material. So after a couple more runs, I'll tighten the bolts and make sure that works okay. Doesn't look like it's leaking anywhere, so I'll let it cool down. We'll get 4 or 5 more. In fact, I want to finish out the gallon of fuel. Because once I bring this inside, I want to put it in a plane. I want to be ready to go. Decide you want to make your own test bench. It's real easy. This is a table actually that was in the garbage. a piece of a shelving or something here, a couple of clamps, or you can use sheetrock screws. I put balsa blocks and I put my pipe. I'm running a pipe at 17 just to break the motor in, but I also can do my testing this way. Obviously you could glue a ruler along there if you want it to be really cute. And I like to have just a big old plastic tank on there so I don't have to fill it every 5 minutes. I think that's an 8-ounce tank, but I'm not sure. And this is what we use to do all our pipe development work. This is really funny. Ruben gets the last laugh on me. He sends me all these labels. He's watching a video and he has all these things with his own picture. Of course, now he's going to stick it to me here. Now, for all the people who don't think I have business cards, look at this. Look at these pro cards. Ruben, you are okay. I don't care what Stevie says about you. Now look at this. I got mailing labels. Oh, these are video labels. Whoa. Look at this. I am totally impressed. I can put these on my own personal video labels. Look at this. I guess he's got nothing to do at night but make labels. Ruben, you got to get a life. Look at this. I can see myself in Look at this. I am totally impressed. And when somebody wants to see business, look at this. There must be 1,000 of them here. Ruben, you are okay. I am going to have to apologize to Ruben McBride. You are an okay guy. Now that I have 1,000 labels here. And business cards. If anybody out there, any of my good customers would like to have a business card, you know, I can, $1 a piece. Anyway, back to working on this baby. Thank you. The last video, I had tried this years ago. I had taken these wheel hubs, and I had run an ink pen. And what it is, I used, you know what I remember now, I did India ink in there. Well, what happened, I tried to use a Sharpie marker, and you can see what happened, so I can save you some aggravation. It just bleeds up when you put the clear on. Even with that William Namora gun, putting a beautiful light, shiny spray on, what happens is it bled through. So what I'll do is I'm just going to deep six these wheel hubs. Luckily, I have another pair, and I'm just going to put the... I may as well just brush in a coat of black Rodak dope. This may save you some aggravation. That was not a good tip on the last video. Wendy, you should be punished. Maybe Ruben will stop making me business cards. Well, a little more like it. Now what I'll do, I'll just brush in with black paint here. Every once in a while, you don't exactly get the thing right. And I can remember doing that with ink, but I didn't. Obviously, I did it with India ink, or I'd have to go back and look at those old videos and find out. But Sharpie markers bleed, so another reason, and I remember years ago somebody told me, I get this great ink pen. Oh, you just buy it in a store, and a felt tip marker or whatever, and oh, ink your whole plane. I said, you better do a little test. Test it out on the bottom of a flap or something. Well, they didn't. They inked the whole pen, spent 2 weeks, put the clear on, and it just smeared. Anyway, it looks like this is they're going to be the only way I can do what I want to do here. And I've learned the easy way to do this, and this is a good tip if you want to make a little more realistic than gray wheels. One of the things to try to do is get this part done and then just brush on a touch-up of the white, because it always seems to walk its way up the walls here just a little bit. Anyway, we have a bright, believe it or not, a bright sunny day, and they're predicting rain tomorrow for Danny's flight. Tomorrow is Danny's big day, and we're going to run down there with the camera and some extra tune pipes and some extra props for him, and hope he can at least, well, Dan's an excellent builder. It should fly well. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I'm hoping Joe Adamusco is going to be able to make it, or some of the other guys. We've all been looking forward to it. He's buffed up beautifully. Buffed up the next day. Just a matter of 2 minutes and these were buffed out. So just need to wait for the wheels to be finished. And I want to get a coat of clear on those hubs. Because the nice thing about the Dave Brown wheels, I can change the tires and just keep the hubs. I don't have to paint a set of hubs for every tire. It's turned out to be some beautiful day out there. I bet this paint is going to dry in 5 minutes. Guarantee you, this is the nicest day. It's supposed to rain all day today. The nicest day, and I guarantee you, Danny's at work thinking, oh, I hope it's like this tomorrow. I could fly my Mustang. Danny, I wish we could go flying tomorrow. I hope it's going to be nice. We're going to go either way. They're not predicting a great day, but by the way, we now use this as our standard gun. It's amazing how quick you get used to having nice equipment. This is a jewel, this gun. Falling in love with it. Show you the kind of sprays it's been laying down. As I'm getting used to it, I'm getting a little more comfortable with all the little idiosyncrasies of how to use it. Well, it just lays down a nice coat of paint. Now, once these dry, we're going to bolt up the landing gear, and we've still got a few more little details. I'll see what else we can get done, as long as President Nixon gives us about an hour to do some modeling today. And tomorrow's the big day. Well, it's dry, and what I did, I polished up some of these wheel retainers, replaced the screw with an Allen screw. I don't know, these so hard to get, impossible to get. Wish I could find a couple dozen of these. Somebody out there feels sorry for Wendy. Get him a couple of sets of these. Boy, I bet you Danny is roasting seeing what a great day this is. Wish I was done. Next step is I want to get two. First thing, I want to take them out and make sure there's no giant burrs on them. Sometimes there's a burr up in the front from the machine. But what I want to do is I want to try this Noel Drindak thing. Now, Noel Drindak was giving me some tips on how to polish a little different than I'm used to. And I want to try and see if this is going to work. I'm going to try Noel's system. I think he wrote about this in Stunt News, too. What we're going to try is, this is just for the address here. Where is that phone number? Here's the phone number right up here, if you're interested in any of these products. One of the things I found, now, I haven't found any uses for these rough ones yet because we're not carving. But the 2000 grit, I'm going to find out if I can order just 2000 grit. The 2000 grit seems real good for polishing. Now what, I want to go over this. What Noel was telling me his system is that he starts with like 320, puts scratches this way, then takes 400, gets the scratches out this way, then 600 gets the scratches out this way. You're always getting out the scratches of the grit before it, and finishes up with 12 or 1500. But now that we have 2000 grit, I'm really excited about seeing how this is going to work. Now see the tooling marks, this is from tooling when it's done. This is probably done on an NC machine. I want to put scratches, and I'm starting with the 320 grit. I want to see if 320. I want to see if I can do this without using the wet and dry sandpaper, just by doing it this way. Now I'm going to sand until I get the scratches out from the tooling and see how long that takes. You can see that maybe a help is to make a little mandrel out of it, because it's hard to hold these parts, and I want to do the whole thing as a unit. And of course, if I want to, I can use this in a drill press too, or a lathe. This will just help me. It just, like many machine shop operations, holding the part is the hardest part of all. Much easier to work on. So I'm going to get, again, more of the scratches out, then go to the next finer grit and go in the opposite direction. Again, if I had my old copy of Stunt News, I'd look up Noel's article, and I think it was a good one. Noel's very obviously knowledgeable about a lot of things. A lot of people don't know he was a submarine mechanic of some kind. I'm not sure what he did in terms of probably a secret. But he definitely knows his stuff when it comes to this kind of thing. Okay, now I've got, well, a little more. I want to get all the scratches. This side's almost done. What I have to do is just go to the next rougher grit, which I think is 320, but I'm not sure. See, they don't mark them on the back, but it came from the box with the 320. Plus, I want to get all the scratches. Now you can see the scratches. Now you can see them. I want to get all of these scratches going this way. Yeah, I just keep thinking about Danny. I keep looking out the back door and seeing that day there isn't a leaf moving. It looks beautiful. It's Anaheim weather. Makes me wish I was a California kid. The next finer grit, and I just want to see if this is going to polish up real easily. One of the things I can do is I can put this in my drill press. I can't put it in for going this way. Let's see if this is going to take the scratches right out. Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll put this in the drill press. And you can see how quickly that came up. But see, getting rid of the scratches, the tooling marks, is the hard thing. You can vary the speed somewhat to just get some idea which is going to be the most efficient. Anytime you're polishing, you want to do a trailing. You don't want to be pushing your hand into the polish. You want to be that your hand is going this way. If you try polishing this way, that part's going to jump out and take a tooth out. Whenever you see people with no teeth, that's usually the reason. That and eating too many juji fruits. Anyway, now this is the next finer grit. I'm going to see how long this takes. I took about 15 minutes on this already. See, the object is I'm always trying to find some new uses for the materials, especially the experimental materials. We're going to knurl that back anyway. Another thing, 3M makes a product just like this, exactly the same. You go any place to buy it, and the material you want is ultra fine, and they only go up to super fine. But it's the ultra fine, and it's written on the back. This stuff isn't written on the back. Maybe 3M makes it, they just bootleg it out to whoever this guy that's selling it is. Now let's see if we're making any progress here. What we're looking for is to see that we have no more scratches front to back. And if we do... Okay, now, let me get a close-up of this. Let me see if I can give you an idea of what's going on here. I don't know if this is going to show on the macro lens, but we've gotten some of the... See, we don't have all of the scratches out yet. There's still some in there. So I'm going to go back and repolish this until I get all of the scratches in this dimension out. Find a piece of this is super fine. The problem is you want ultra fine. Ultra fine is the stuff that just polishes aluminum like magic. But see, it says, oh, there's another super fine. I thought I found a piece of ultra fine here, but again, if somebody finds it, it's the kind of thing when you go to the store, you go, yeah, they have it, yeah, boom, and they don't have the grit that you need. I'm just going to keep at this, no sense running the camera, until I get all of the scratches off. I can see no scratches in that dimension. Now, after that little trip to the drill press, almost all of this, well, I'm not sure. I'm going to try this a little different. This is the stuff we were using the other day to polish. This is the 2000 grit. Let's see if it brings it up. It might be a little premature to go to 2000. I think the last little thing is get all the scratches out, and after that 2000 grit, old Gorhams. One thing I love about Gorhams, you try all these exotic things and you wind up in the end doing the polishing with Gorhams. Well, we got one almost done. Almost doesn't count here. I'm guessing this was about an hour to an hour and a half total. And I could probably finish this up with some vinyl shine. Thing, because of course you'll have some little microscopic scratches going in that direction. Now what would be great, we have an orbital polisher, but I don't have a polishing cloth. So it looks like between all those grits, we used nothing but those grits and Gorhams and our little drill press arbor. Now just for laughs, let's see if we've... So if you want to add one little dimension, now, you know, you look and you decide if it's worth it to you. About an hour, hour and a half. Now what I also found here, that kind of a little sidebar to this, is when I'm all done with the drill press, I try to take some of the Gorhams and the final shine, because even the drill press puts in some very, you know, get all the smudgies off of this, but some of the little, I don't know if you can see them, there's some these are microscopic, they are really small. But if you're looking for perfection, and I can't think of any other reason, anything else worth looking for beside perfection. Sounds egotistical, but it isn't. I just would like to have anything I do relating to models to be as good as I can do it, within the limits of my skills, my patience. Anyway, we got 2 of these done. That now takes its place as one of the permanent parts of Miss Ashley. And I think, thank you very much, Noel. Your technology worked fine. And thanks to Gorhams, your friend at the Gorhams factory. Well, that Gorhams is, nothing beats Gorhams. Things we have an option here is, and I'll make up a couple spares, have these carbon fiber back plates, which will be good as trim features. I'm looking for one that looks like it's, they're all the same, it doesn't really matter. I had made some at one time with cloth, I had made some with tow. I've got all different variations of this. As a trim feature, that knocks a lot of weight out. Those carbon fiber back plates save quite a bit of weight. Every time I balance one of these up, I'm impressed. Worked well. Used it all last year on this I-beam Spitfire. Hope it's going to work on this guy as a trim feature. Now before I set up any tank, obviously a couple of things. This is a razor edge no matter who makes the tank. And I like to get the burr off of that. That is so important, especially on a new plane. I sure don't want to have the tubing, this is like a razor edge, and if the tubing bends, it cuts right through. I also like to do this and put kind of some threads on the tube, so that if the tubing goes through there, it tends not to get pinched. Little details like this usually make that first flight, and of course Danny's getting ready for that. I'm sure right now he's home praying for good weather tomorrow. Hey, I hope we get it. I hope we're going to have a good one, but even if we don't. That's another good side note of modeling. Even when things don't go right and the weather's not that good, we always enjoy a good day at the diner. Joe Adamusco and I have had many days just sitting in that diner down there in Middlesex, looking at the raindrops and dreaming about planes to come. I'm going to get all the burrs off, any tank or any backup tank, because in the middle of replacing a tank, if that tube has a pinhole in it, now we always want to make sure, and of course right up to the last minute, nothing here is going to rub on anything, because we've go right from the get-go, we've got this figured out that we want to have the tank on an angle for a cleaner shut-off. Now I can see it's rubbing on that tube, so I need to bend that tube down just a hair. One of the things I've tried to engineer into all planes, really, is that the maintenance is easy to do. It's not hard and difficult to do it. Fooling around, I think I like having this vent in the middle, and of course tanks come both ways. And I just need to, see, this is resting on here. I don't want to have anything resting on a vent. That almost ensures that something's going to break. I'll just bend this up just the slightest bit to give me some clearance for that tube. And it looks like that's the tank that's going to work. And of course we're going to have that offset piece in there. I'll carve a piece of balsa for that. Sure, I put a piece of 64th plywood on a tank shim. And I have a wedge that has a taper in it. I want to make sure that tank is nice and rigid. Kind of tubing I would recommend anybody use is this Prather stuff, the pink Prather stuff. Tubing other than this just doesn't seem to stand the test of time. This is the most pinhole free. You can almost kink it directly around and it doesn't fold in on itself. Real good investment if you don't use this right now. Now it looks like the venting is going to work out. Well, it's tight. Every bit of space in there is used up. This reminds me of some of the racing motorcycles. They were just, no room to put anything. Well, after all this fooling around, it doesn't look like I'm going to have exactly what I want here without customizing one of the tanks. I get the vents in one spot and I can't shim it all the way. So these are the little problems I got to work out. But anyway, let's hope for good work. We'll work on that the next session we get. I'm real excited about tomorrow. Let's pray for good weather. Pray for shiny spinners. See how Danny's Mustang looks. Well, it's the first time this year that we've had the plane in the van. And we are loaded up to go give Danny Banjock a hand. Oh, can't wait to trim this Mustang. Can't wait to see it. And it looks like he's got, even though they predicted rain, it looks like, just beautiful. Looks like he's been going to church. There's just something about spring, this place in the world, springtime, Rutherford, the leaves are starting to come on the trees. And the thing that's different about here, when you live in a part of the country where it's warm and sunny and beautiful all year long, I don't know that you appreciate, we have such a short flying season, it's probably not even 6 months. But when it comes, it announces itself. It says, here we are, look at the buds, the blooms, the leaves. We're starting to get over having rain and snow, and I don't know that, at least I think I appreciate it as much as anybody on the planet. And just some of the trees that are out, the apple blossoms are out, the cherry woods. Look at this, even on a corner store here, some of the beautiful trees. It looks like Banjock's going to have a day of days here, boy. You know, another thing too, when you're a stunt flyer, you don't get to see your friends that often all winter or all during the building season. Look at that tree. Wow. And this is like the beginning. This is our first day out at the field. And Danny gets to be the leadoff batter this year now. A couple of years ago, Joe Adamusco was Blue Spitfire. He was the leadoff batter. Miss Ashley's about a week or two away, maybe next weekend. Look at the flag on the flagpole. Oh my God, we're in Anaheim. Oh, the classic beauty. Have we done this before? Put it down. Let's see how it looks. Oh my God, he's back. Where is Banjock? You know, he's late for his own wedding, this guy. Oh yes, Super Marine. Got his stunt news in the back. I don't know, Joe, you just too cool. Got the blisters, the Griffin blisters.
Much, last year, I've still got some bugs to work out of it.
Oh, you've got a piped engine on this one.
Yeah, PA61.
Yeah, I just noticed the decal on the snout. Looking good.
Yeah, I made a couple, minor repair things that
Yeah.
trying to make it work better, but
See the hubcaps on my wheels there?
yeah.
Soda can bottoms.
You just cut the.
Just cut them to size
Cut 'em
very
to-
carefully.
all
Just
right.
CA them in, spin them on the lathe until they polish up. Remember the old Moon hubcaps?
Yeah.
That's what I copied them off.
Uh-huh.
Wendy saw this one.
Now is that the 52, the original?
Yeah, that's the original. It doesn't fly as well as a green box. The wing is too thin.
I was judging this when it went in. Yeah, you got it all back in one piece. I was judging. Who was Ferguson and I were judging?
Push rod broke.
Yeah.
How bad did you break it?
Everything from the
Oh,
the nose.
the nose. He had the
ladder, and it's
removable nose
but it went
option.
almost straight in, and the wing didn't break.
Oh,
Really,
good.
On asphalt.
You'd never know it, Bobby.
Good, thank you. I just haven't
Never.
polished it yet. I blew some clear over it.
Oh, the hubcaps do look good. I like them. They look like the old Banner wheels.
What they are, they're Banner hubs with lightweight tires on them, and those are soda bottle cans at the bottom.
Really?
I took the bottom, not a soda bottle, a soda can.
Oh, the where it has the little reverse curve on the bottom. Yeah.
I CA'd that on, and then I spun it in a lathe to get a nice polish to it.
Yeah.
And it really kind of tops them off nice.
I spent my whole day yesterday polishing spinners.
Oh, jeez.
What a pain.
I guess.
But they do look nice when they're done. No doubt about it.
I got to do this. I just stuck that on, and I'm playing with the trim. I've only flown it twice since I put it back together, but I'm playing with the trim.
This was a good flying no-blower. This was
It wasn't bad, but I really think the green box one flies better.
I don't know. Aldrich says this one flies better. I don't know if we can depend on him anymore. George, tell us the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Well, I'm going to take a hike here.
Mustang.
Well, if we can't have Dan's Mustang, we'll have our own Mustang.
It's
That's a four-stroke. Let's see that motor.
four-stroke 20.
Yeah.
And this is a Sterling kit.
Okay. This is what you did. You modified the carburetor, or?
Yeah, it's my own design intake system. Oops, it's a Super Tiger
Don't let the
needle
wind. The
valve.
wind's coming up just
Yeah.
in time for Danny's first flight if he ever gets here.
I put dihedral in the wing. I put the landing gear in the wing.
Yeah.
And you notice the push rods inside the profile fuselage.
Ah, you ought to tell somebody. Find the fuselage. Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Was it a hollow profile?
It didn't start that way, but I hollowed out because you know how heavy these kits are.
Oh
It
yeah.
was built like of lumber.
And you got the little
whatever
yeah.
they're called. Yeah.
Yeah,
She
cool.
doesn't fly too bad.
That's a cool little plane.
It's just a good fun plane.
Well, let's go see if Adamusko wants to take a test flight before Banjack gets here.
Yeah, it might as
Check
well.
the air out. It's not getting any better. Danny's probably in the middle of the road right now thinking, oh, I gotta fly it today, oh. Yeah, Ken Clapson's got the Stuntress. I think he's putting a trim on it.
Are you building a Stuntress?
I'm not sure if it's a Mr. Wicked or Stuntress or what. It's your design, I know that. It's clearly from your plans, but I don't know which one. And he's got a Reno Air Race look to it.
That's the look.
The look.
The look.
The Middlesex look.
Oh, are you recording now?
Yeah, of course. Don't tell me any bad secrets,
Okay.
you know. Don't tell me about anything bad I shouldn't know.
Solid lines.
Okay.
You're going to need some, so.
I got them with me. I got rolls with me. If you want, if it gets windy later,
You need the kind of stuff that's in a bag that I always turn into knots.
we'll put it on a reel for you. For one low price. One low bagel. That's one of the true skills of modeling, is seeing if you can get the solid lines on a reel without ginching them up. Standing here, Dan's van arrives.
Put the lines on before I fly. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd put the lines on before you fly. I've always been in favor of that. Most nervous guy on the East Coast, on the planet, just drove in. What did he do, have an accident on the way down here?
No, he just got behind a typical Pennsylvania driver.
Oh, yeah.
He speeds.
You guys from Pennsylvania, farmers.
Pretty calm. I think he took a couple...
I want to take his pulse, but where'd he go? He's there. Hey, Dan, we got to give you a physical to see if you're nervous. Get that plane out.
He just gave an IV.
And now, after 2 years of intensive labor, after buffing until Steve DeJulia couldn't stand seeing him anymore. Oh, it looks great.
Thank you.
Absolutely awesome. Banjock, awesome. Canopy, pilot, awesome. Unbelievable. That is really great. And it looks like you might even get a flight in today.
Hey,
whoa.
It took a lot of praying to get this weather.
Oh, I said this son of a gun is in church. He went to the temple. Everything you could do. That looks great.
Oh man, I am tickled pink. Absolutely.
Yeah, it looks great. Boy, the gear look great. Is that really nice? Oh wow, unbelievable. And the paint job goes without saying. Did Al Ray, was he convinced about that you did these checkerboards by hand? I said, oh, he has a trick. Call him up. Yeah.
Man, I had no trick.
You sit and do it for 10 years is the trick.
Holy mackerel.
Oh man, the skunks on there, the whole thing. Oh man, absolutely great.
Oh man, thank God this
2 years.
done.
Yeah, 2 years in the making. I don't know what else to say. I hope you tighten the belt crank or whatever. Boy, it looks good. Really
man,
good.
Thank you.
What did it come up weighing?
Right now it's actually, since I changed the tune pipe coupler, it's a little under 64.
I brought you some tune pipe couplers.
Oh, terrific. Well,
Okay, it's under 64.
Noel
yeah.
sent me down some.
Okay.
Yeah, I called him like you said, and he sent me down 2 lengths of it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
so fantastic.
McMaster Car has it. I'm going to get my buddy Warren Walker. He deals with McMaster Car to get me a discount on it.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that thing I had on there, man, I might as well.
Oh, yeah, that blue thing? Yeah. Yeah. That's Mosley. Yeah, the little exhausts are great. Oh, it's a beauty.
I was trying to make curved exhaust pipes. Trying to make the aluminum tubing
Yeah,
curved.
good luck.
I finally got it to curve to about this radius.
Right, and then it kinks.
Well, what happened is I finally realized as short as they were, it didn't matter.
Yeah, you don't see it.
Yeah.
This looks great.
Yeah.
Let's see the bottom. Got the gear doors, got the scoop and all that stuff. Oh, yeah.
A little,
Oh, yeah. Ken Clapson, eat your heart out. Yeah, the little door. Now, do you think, I'm just curious, because I have the same question.
Go
Do you
ahead.
think there's going to be enough air coming out the back?
Well, we hope so.
What? Because if it roasts the paint right here,
Well,
that's
no,
what my Spitfire did. I tried doing that, and the Spitfire put a big bubble in the paint. I went home and I was biting the steering wheel and went past Dunkin' Donuts and hollered at the guy.
According to Bob Hunt, that'll work.
Okay. Hey, I'm all
It
ears.
was his design.
This is nice, though. That really is nice.
Oh, that's.
You've outdone yourself.
Man, thank you.
Did you send Al Rabe any pictures of this?
Not completed yet.
I'll send him a copy of this video. He's been sending me stuff all the time.
By the way, Steve DeJulia wants a copy of this video.
Oh, we'll get him one.
Charge him for it, and he
Don't
said,
charge.
okay.
I'll charge him the price of the Gorhams. Look at the pilot. Oh, wow. That is just great.
Philly Flyers hat.
Yeah. Cool. By the way, this is what a real Philly Flyer. This is a real Philly Flyer with all the crap hanging off. He thinks his hat is a Christmas tree. Yeah, that looks nice. Boy, oh boy. I'll tell you.
Joe?
I really appreciate the kind of work goes into this, boy. Forget about it.
God, the farther along we got, the worse.
I
the
know.
worse things were going wrong.
I know.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me. I've been all through this, baby. All right, as soon as Adamusco gets a flight, let's check it out.
Beautiful.
Is that wild?
Right.
Joe was the guy I think responsible. He told
Joe's responsible for the Spitfires.
He told me about 2 years ago. He says you can do that paint scheme. He says do it.
Yeah, it's your life. 2 million hours.
2 guys finished in front of it, and 1 was disqualified, and 1 cut some pylons.
That's why they fly the race, right?
Yep.
That's right. That's right. I used to be the best-looking guy in Rutherford if they had an epidemic and everybody died. You know? I could be the one.
Oh yeah, man, I'm psyched for this flight.
I didn't think you would. You notice I didn't even take my plane out. I said, when he gets here, he ain't gonna let me fly. Forget about it. Come on, let's go. You got your lines all cut?
Oh, lines are cut. All I got to do is
Joe's
clean 'em.
Joe's got some. Yeah, Joe's got some extra props.
Okay.
I got the whole toolbox. I brought every gallon of fuel, every prop, every header, everything I had. Lines, I must have 15 sets of lines in the truck. I figure if the dude gets here and he says, oh, I gotta make lines up. No way.
No excuse.
No excuse. This is going in the air today, my boy.
Oh, this is neat because I have never seen this bird fly.
Well, we got the 2 yellow birds. I got Strager here in case the air goes really bad. We can all fly that.
If it goes real bad, I got the
If it rains or something. The Philly Flyers emblem, unbelievable. That is pretty. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, I'm just, thank God.
Man, when I saw the pictures of the checkerboards, I said, this dude's gonna be seeing checkerboards in his sleep.
Hey, spark plug, right?
Joe, I think
Yeah.
the props spun loose.
No, something flew out the bottom.
Don't turn it up. Don't. The fuel's coming out of it. Put it back down.
To drain out the back of the pipe?
Okay, the glow plug fell out.
Yeah, I heard something go clunk.
Yeah, I'm famous for that.
Joe, I can't believe you did this. He did this with his new spit. Oh, Danny, tighten up the glow plug.
First
I
thing
heard
I'm going to
I heard
check.
it
Tighten up the glow
I
plug.
heard it start to slow down and the prop must have hit the
The glow plug, when it came out, ate the prop. You know what I'm going to do, Joe? I'm going to go back in the footage of the first day you flew the Blue Spitfire and say, here's a man who learns his lesson.
Common sense in physics says the plug falls out, it gets blown back.
No,
In model aviation,
no,
it goes
not in
forward.
control line stun. It goes right into the prop.
It has to do with the
Oh,
Coriolis
God.
effect up here.
Dan, get your plug wrench out.
I'm going to go get
Tighten
it right
that
now.
plug.
That ain't happening on this airplane.
Yeah, okay. Get the
I'm
wheel
supposed to do
wheel
something
hubs
I'm
tight.
supposed to do something on tape here.
What? Do it on tape.
Paul Winter, how you doing?
Oh,
He called me up. He said to say hi on tape.
you know what I'm gonna do?
Hello to England.
I'm gonna send him a tape of Dan Banjock's first flight and make it a blank tape. Turn the thing all out of traction so he can't see it. Paul, you're okay. I don't care what Banjock says about you.
Yeah, going this way.
Yeah.
I'll bet it's knocked out there.
Robart gear legs?
Yeah.
The P51, the ones they make?
Yeah, I think they're called offset.
Yeah, okay.
They're offset, and I think they're actually for RC. They're listed as like a 60 size rear cover.
I had a set of them on the Red Baron, and I'll tell you, not that this is going to be a problem with your plane, but the plane wouldn't turn inside. It was so draggy.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and when I took them off, it flew a lot better. But we don't know that yet.
The drag one.
The drag it would just not turn inside.
Okay.
Well, when you empty your car, move it on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, put the car there, and they won't bitch. Otherwise, they bitch about it.
Put it around back here.
Yeah,
Okay.
put it in the back.
I can do that. We can do that. Yeah, I don't. Okay.
And tighten the glow plug. Tighten the spark plugs in your car when you go over there.
All the way around.
What do I think? Build semi-scale planes. Forget about building Cardinals. Now, Paul Winter, he's building up, he's got a Tsunami, and he's building Voodoo with the purple, the Brodak purple. He's going to have it for
What's the
Brodaks.
Voodoo? Is that the one with the droop stab?
No, it's a P51, an air racer with
okay, because it was
a
a jet
slick-
called the Voodoo, remember?
a slicked up paint job. It's a purple, yellow, and Kawasaki green paint job. Kind of a slick job.
We got to talk to him about these shiny wing walks. And here we are with the glow plug tight as could be.
It's true every year on the first day of the year we get out here. Well, Danny's been flying regularly, but first day for me, first day for Joe. And absolutely there's just something that happens the first day out of the year. Joe's just feeling out the model. I don't know what he's going to be doing. He dressed off the prop a little bit, I think, but that is funny. That did happen when we did the first day on a blue Spitfire and a glow plug. I can't believe that happened again. Oh, geese! 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 Every once in a while they'll fly into a plane here. Anyway, Danny's getting ready to pit up, and I guess from this point in the day on, it's Danny's day. Boy, that's a beauty. What kind of fuel you using here?
This is
Red Max?
Alcohol and Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
He mixes the two
I gotta
together.
mix it up to get a tank, but it seems to work okay.
What kind of fuel you using for this experimental flight?
5%.
5%, 10 and 10?
Yeah.
And it's Red Max? Okay.
Yeah. Red Max has been, I've used that a lot, though. I've always been fine.
Which half is the castor oil, though?
Yeah.
You gotta figure that out.
The part that sticks to the model. and your pants.
Steve DeJulia, Wendy Urdnowski, our
Steve DeJulia? Oh, no!
whole Philly Flyers Club, especially Bob Hunt for the design.
It's Bobby's design, right?
Designed by Bob Hunt.
Now, is this an unequal panel or equal panel?
It's about 3/4 of an inch difference.
Okay, 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
Dennis Choate called me this morning. He's all concerned about the inboard, outboard, bigger flap, little flap.
The outboard flap is a little wider.
Okay, the outboard flap is wider, inboard panel is longer.
Yeah.
This gets complicated. When you make it equal, it's really easy to figure everything out.
Years ago, I used to
Especially when you're
have
Polish.
a Mustang and a Fox 35 number 7 tank build it, and I went and flew it. You can't get off the ground without an army of support people.
Something interesting the guys in Europe are doing.
I gotta talk to Al Ray. Hey, Danny, I am definitely gonna send Al Rabe a copy of this.
Okay.
Al, if you ever get to see this video, man, and if you think you haven't influenced the hobby, forget it. Unbelievable. That is absolutely a work of art.
You have Allen wrenches?
Oh, yeah.
Albert wrenches?
See what I forgot to do, since I'm strictly suction, no pressure, I forgot to hit the vent
Wendy, there's
after I started.
Oh, leave it over there for now. We'll play with tapes later. I always feel like it's worth every minute and every time. First off, what happens if you haven't run it in a plane yet? You get a goober in the tank and you got a lean run. And you know what I mean?
Might as well find out here.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And order prop comes off, glow plug comes loose. We've added new dimensions to this every day. What size is the Venturi in this? Stock one?
Stock one. So I don't really know how that's supposed to work, I guess.
Well, you'll see how much fuel it uses. I mean, that's that's a cheap investment. That.
A lot of smoke. It's raw.
And then I would, before you put it back, I would clean the filter, take a look anyway.
Okay.
See if the header screws. Obviously, you bench run it because I see the goop on it. And check the glow plug.
I thought this was your first run on the engine, Dave.
You know how many times I've done this and picked up a goober in a tank and it's running about 3 minutes and all of a sudden,
Good thing I brought more of those screws with me.
Where, did it go into the pipe or onto the
No,
ground?
it went down to the ground. Don't worry, I got a whole
Okay,
box full
I
of
got the
them
airplane.
things.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Now, what is this stuff here? Just fill me in, because I'm behind the learning curve here on some of it. This is glued to the pipe or what?
Oh, it's like fiberglass insulation?
Yeah, it's fiberglass tape.
Fiberglass tape. Okay, I've never seen that before.
We use that at work.
And what does it do up here? It just...
I got this area
pull
here.
This off too, Dan? Or?
Oh, that doesn't come off.
I see. Okay.
That stays there.
I should have used 2 screws out here to hold that on. I used
Okay.
1 there. I got clearance, but it's close, so I figured I'd put some shade protection there. I may change that, you know, down the road a little ways.
I just want to see something. How much air? Just hold the nose up just a little bit. Because I look at mine and I'm nervous.
Space in here?
I want to see how much air can... Yeah, it looks like there's a lot. Yeah, there's more than what it looks like.
There has to be at least this much. Look, he's got the tire out,
Yeah,
so there's
well, actually, back here, it really opens up.
Yeah,
And
if you're moving air between it, it's not going to radiate that much heat.
Another thing, too, I do this to see if these are tight enough. If you can move them, they're not tight enough.
Have you ever had these
this thing really opens up back here.
You want to flip it over now?
Yeah, I guess so.
This is cheap insurance for all the time you've put into this. Yeah.
The house that was dead calm.
I got you a sunny day. Quit complaining.
I was thinking 10 inches of rain today. We'll be out here in our boots.
Did you hear?
Watch, hang on to that. Oh.
Okay, let me get some fuel back.
That's all I'm allowing.
No, that's okay. That's perfect.
I don't let them. I don't have them flip it for them.
But you know, starting is one thing, but then getting in there at the knee about.
Yeah, come behind.
You can get a bump?
30 years ago.
No, not yet.
Well, starting to get
I'm wondering, you know, if the plug's a little off.
Where you catch from?
Danny, a lot of times, you know, when it sits in the car with the pipe, the oil from the pipe will work its way back into the engine. You know, if it's nosing down.
Usually you feel a lot of compression, a lot more.
Yeah.
Now his sits nose up in the car.
What Joe and I do is we put a couple of drops of lighter fluid in there when it gets all full of oil.
Yeah.
That burps it right out.
Try that.
Yeah, it's dripping out the pipe, so you know
That's something. Now we probably flooded it.
With that battery, you should be able to burn the flood right out of there.
Yeah.
Over and try it. Are you sure you have? I saw it drip out the nose, but I don't know.
Yeah, let me pull the plug.
I got an electric starter in a box. You're welcome to use it if you want.
I appreciate the thought. Bite your tongue.
These men are real modelers. They don't use electrics. They're real men. They don't wear...
Professional musician, he needs his fingers.
They're real hockey players. They don't wear helmets. They bite the puck with their fingers. Right? Show them how to play hockey. Take that helmet off.
Sticks. They use the back of their hand to
Right.
the puck around.
The worst injuries I've seen are from the engine's already been running.
Yeah, if guys don't watch, stick their hands in a prop.
Yeah, you get silly.
Put your
or
hand in this
something.
prop, and they're going to call you lefty. It's
Yeah, that's going to cut it right off.
yeah. Your hand, bone, skin is not going to stop this engine.
Yeah.
I bet you still don't have fuel in there.
That could be.
Choke it till you get a couple drips out of the Venturi. That's the way it works.
It's coming out now, Dan.
Say if you want to flip it over.
Yeah, I guess we'll try it.
Just watch now. How do you have this set up? With a uniflow pipe open?
Uniflow's on pressure.
It's the pipe pressure.
Pipe pressure.
Okay, then you can't hurt it. When you flip it over, nothing drips out.
Exactly.
Or it just goes in the pipe and the guy gets a bath when it starts.
Yeah. All right, let's try.
Joe, you got any lighter fluid with you? Give him a douse of lighter fluid. That for sure will work.
Tell you what, we will. Can we? Are we able to hold it low enough without?
Here, use,
Yeah, hold it for me
use
for a
this
second,
We
Dan.
gotta.
If it doesn't, we'll give a little bump to the lighter fluid here.
Hey, let's give her a shot.
Not a whole lot now, Dan. Just a couple drops. Don't. Wow. Guy knows his stuff, huh? Get that battery off.
Yeah, that thing's moving all
You
over
gotta
the
tighten your
place.
gland nut.
Yeah.
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going south.
I like to get that battery out of there. Even when it's inverted, it can roll under the prop.
let's try her again.
You want to try it, flip it inverted?
Oh, we'll try it like this.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
No problem.
Danny, that lighter fluid thing is like a must when it pipe,
Go ahead, Dan.
the pipe gets some oil in it.
I'll have to.
I have the bird.
I'll have.
It's funny to hear a noise.
Oh yeah, you're gonna find out. Uh-oh.
Sure beats the hell out of the double star.
Sounds good to me. What do you got the pipe at, 17?
16 and 3/4.
That's right.
Okay. Boy, I'm gonna have to get used to this sound.
Oh yeah. Get used to it on payday.
It's not even warm under there. Great, great.
Now the reason I think this is significant is a lot of people come out to the field with a new plane, brand new, they're all excited, in 2 minutes they're flying, they get a lean run, something happens, and disaster strikes. I just think this is a good investment in everybody's time, including Danny's. You sure want to have total success here with no surprises. Motor sounds strong. Right from the start, we're using, and I want to document some of these things for Danny, 014 medical grade windy wires, and they are highly polished, you can see. Blade will be on the Bali 2 blade. I don't know what pitch he's, a 3.6. It's a 12 and a half, 3.6. I guess that's what it is. This is for Dan's information anyway. Man, if you love semi-scale, hey, if you appreciate Al Rabe's contribution to the hobby years ago, right now, to hell with years ago. It's alive and well here in Jersey. Bob Hunt's original design, and I believe they made, I'm not sure, they made 2 or 3 of them.
You got us all beat, Bob.
He's flying at 4-stroke now, and he's in first place since nobody else has flown. And obviously it's a Bob Hunt lost foam kind of wing. Anybody out there that's, you know, looking at wanting one of these, either plans, I'm sure Bob or Dan has the plans. Dan has the canopy mold if anybody wants one of these P51 canopies. Bob, I'm sure, can come up with the wing parts for you. It's a Randy Smith PA61. It looks like he modified a Randy spinner, but I'm not sure, an aero spinner. I'm not sure. It looks like it's blunted out in the front. And painted in the awesome Steve DeGiulia. I have the neatest factory in the world right in the cellar of my house shop. Is using something that I have not had good luck with, and that's denatured alcohol. I prefer 91% CVS alcohol on solids. However, we're going to find out. We're willing to learn, and I'm going to give Dan a bottle of my alcohol just so if he finds out this is not the material of choice. I guess we're going to find out.
Okay, going over your head.
Now, I just happen to, Danny's been telling me that a lot of guys are using denatured alcohol. And if it works for you, I mean, there's no problem. But I remember years ago guys that were experimenting with acetone, Pledge, Rain-X, all kinds of chemicals. And I found, for my use under my conditions, that old 91% worked best. But Danny says he's been using it on a stiletto. How many flights you got on a stiletto?
400.
Okay. And you never had the line stick?
Only in real bad humidity.
Okay. Then it's oh, you.
Like it was 110%, pouring rain. You couldn't see.
It's that moment of truth, the moment in time. Danny's waited 2.5 years for. I'm sure Bobby Hunt's waiting to hear how this thing flies. Steve DeGiulia's sitting on end, waiting for a phone call or a visit or something. You got half of the Philly Flyers here, checking this whole thing out. Got it bench run on the ground. By the way, that's one thing a lot of people overlook is that bench run. Well, I think it's a good investment. I like to run it a couple of times in my backyard and then go around and tighten everything up just to make sure I didn't have any lack of concentration tightening the glow plug or anything. And of course, in this case, you want to familiarize yourself with the workings of the engine, a new tank, new pipe, new whatever. And this is the first flight. Win, lose, or draw. Recorded for all immortality here. One of the prettiest planes of all time, period. End of discussion. And we've seen this at various construction stages, seen it being buffed, seen the checkerboards being put on, and if you're following all these hundreds and hundreds of videos, you know how many videos we have of Danny's stuff. And this is the latest. Let's see if we can catch a smile on this guy's face. Oh, yeah. And a week or two from now, we hope we're going to be getting some flights on Miss Ashley, hopefully. Look, it has a nice smooth corner. Certainly looks bright in the air, bright and shiny. You can see the sun sparkling off it. And from the where I am, it looks like the wing is relatively level. presents well in the air. And it really has that look of a Mustang with the wing cuff. How's it feel? All right, he's happy, he's happy. All right. As the solid lines flash around, Dan has found a new substitute for sex. Now, what do you want to say to Steve DeJulia, Dan? Oh, well, Steve, I'll buy the pizza tonight, no problem. I'll buy pizza for the rest of your life, Steve. I'll take Rosemary out to dinner for enchiladas. Come on. You're buying lunch? Yeah. I'm glad I got this on tape. Wow, we're going to get a free lunch. They say there's no such thing as free lunch. There isn't. Not when Dan's around. Steve, hold him to this. I know you're going to see. Steve, hold him to this. When he won the first circle burner contest, beat me fair and square, gave me a good ass whipping. What did we do? We took him out to the diner and bought him lunch. Well, now it's your turn, Dan. You're in the bag here with a future concourse winner. Oh, my God. Get used to buying lunch, sucker. I don't think you get any happier than this. And you get to see it. Hey, Paul Winter will see this 3 days after we shoot the video. Paul, eat your heart out. Ken Clapson in Canada will be watching this. All the guys in Montana. The guys in Oregon. Enjoy, guys. Pass the videos around. Uwe Degner in Germany. God, just enjoy the hell out of it. And I know one guy who I want to say right now, Don Dixon in Arkansas. He's making a comeback to the hobby, and I know he needs some inspiration. Don, believe me when I tell you, the work on a day like today, the emotional feel, when you get done with that ship, there's just nothing like it in the world. Unless, of course, you can afford a real P-51, but then if you could, you wouldn't be out here, would you? You'd be at the airport, tuning up the Merle and putting the glow plugs in. What a day for Dan Banjock. What a day. What a day for stunt. Bring some new and exciting planes into the hobby, and we'll get every one of the flights for this contest season on these videos for you. All right, Danny. Now listen, Danny, are you going to buy Steve DeJulia dinner tonight? And the second question, where do we go for lunch? You hear it first.
Terrific.
How did it fly?
Don't touch a thing.
Don't touch it, okay.
Don't touch a thing. Whatever, I don't know what's on it, but it's work. I don't know. Man, that thing, God's sakes. Mr. Stiletto, I think you've had it.
Stiletto's going to the junk bin, huh?
It's going to the hang up, man. The thing turns. I mean, it just turns like when you want it to.
It looks great in the air. It presents just as good as anything else.
Yeah, well.
Let me see the handshake. Is the hand nice and... Oh, look at this.
Thank you.
Now see if you can reach into your wallet and say this over and over. Steve DeJulia, dinner's on me. And you better buy Bob Hunt a new car or something. Holy crow.
No bubbling at all. No. It's not even terrific. Terrific.
You're in, baby. You're in. Just doesn't get a lot better than that, does it?
The thing is solid.
Happiest modeler. He's so happy. He thinks he's Al Rabe. He's gonna go home and look in the mirror. Now I'm Al Rabe. What? Come on.
No,
So-
man. Al Rabe is.
Tell me about the checkerboards. Paul Winter especially. He can't figure out how to do a decent paint job yet.
Okay, on the checkerboards, one problem we did run into was the Brodak yellow. I don't think has enough pigment in it, because the yellow took a lot more paint to cover than the red. What had to be done was one coat of clear, wet sand it down, and then I hit the yellow because it was sticking up higher.
Okay.
And then when we took everything down to that point, then resprayed the clear, and then that got us a good enough surface to get everything leveled out.
Okay.
There's no, every checkerboard is individually backmasked.
So you took and made squares of masking tape, in essence,
On a glass table.
and made them 90 degrees. I made a pattern or something. Yeah.
And what I used to lay them out on the stabilizer,
Billy Suarez, eat your heart out.
I laid 1-inch strips of masking tape out the stabilizer, marked off 1-inch lines, and then peeled out one row of the long masking tape. And then I had enough to line up and go down with the long checkerboard. Then I could peel off another row and do that row and keep working it back and forth.
Well, I hope this doesn't catch on as like everybody's got to have with a stiletto has to have a checkerboard tail. You're gonna kill the hobby.
There's going to be a lot of work.
Oh yeah, Billy Suarez was crazy when he was doing his checkerboards.
I was normal before then.
But no, you weren't that normal.
Well,
but
yeah, that's true.
But you got to admit, if you did the wimpy thing and just like didn't do the checkers, that's the key feature of the plane.
This whole paint job, I got to say, what was it? When me, Bob Hunt, and Mike Poplar were starting on this. I told Bob Hunt after a little while I was up in silver on the airplane. He said, well, put some D-Day stripes on it and get it out.
He was right. You should have listened to him. Was right.
I sent a letter to him. I said, Bob, I forgot how much wet sand was involved in this. How did I ever let you talk me into this paint scheme? But no, I am so happy, man.
Well, you have certainly joined the ranks of those who, there's a very elite group of people who have lost their mind over model aviation. You certainly are at the head of the line right now.
I got one more person to thank there, Rosemary, Steve's wife. Thanks for all the food.
Yeah, I noticed you put on a few pounds there.
A little bit, yeah.
They should have weighed you before the checkerboards.
I don't know how many times I ran over there. Oh, something turned into a disaster. This is going wrong, and oh, jeez.
I know the feeling, hey. But you know what? It's an adventure, and if you know where you're going, it isn't much of an adventure. You've had an adventure. Believe me, you've had an adventure. And so it came to be that Safety Squirrel, after all of these years, 2 years in the making, rolled up his solid lines, was so happy, promised he'd buy Bob Hunt a new car. He's going to buy Steve the Julia pizza for the rest of his life. But we really, this is a moment in a man's life, and a moment in, no matter how you can look at this however you want, it's a moment in a fellow modeler's life that I'm sure is very significant for him. I count him now that, boy, from this point on, it's going to be a hard act to follow. See, it gets harder and harder to make new ones because everybody's going to expect you come out with some trash bag now. It's no good. You got to have 4 million letter sets and checkerboards. But it's a moment in history. Listen to the bullshit coming from outside. John DeTavio must be out there. Fresh in from Texas. Hey, how's that roof coming?
Oh, here he is.
Oh! Wait, I want to see how my roof is coming. Forget about it. Look at this. Look at it. Wrecking my house again. There's what's left of my shop. Let's see how that fan looks, Mike.
Oh, looks good.
Oh, you didn't get it in yet?
Yeah.
This is going to be the new Windy Molding Shop. Complete with super spray booth for those super Brodak. Look at this. That was the roof.
Yep.
We got more chiefs than Indians on this job. Look, more supervisors than workers.
He's over here taking pictures.
Oh. No, we didn't even take a picture of the new. Now, back in the shop, one of the things I want to have with this particular plane, with this fuselage, in fact, on this plane, is a good choice of tank setups. And I think I've got one of the ones that'll be usable. You can see how that worked out. But what's going to happen is this tank is only 5 3/4 ounces, and I'd like to have one a little 6 or a little bit better. Joe Adamusco offered to make me up one of his custom tanks, and I hope I carved a wood block that fits in that area and marked out where the vents should go. He's going to try to do that for me in the next week or so. I also hope, and you know, I'd love to test one of these carbon fiber tanks that Wayne Triven is making. Wayne hasn't said he'd make one yet. I've been trying to put some pressure on him. Maybe he will. By the way, if you haven't seen Wayne Triven's website, wow. It shows you how to make a model airplane engine from bar stock. Check it out. It's got planes flying across it and everything. It's probably one of the most exotic websites out there. Anyway, what we're going to do is pull this apart. I have a couple other little details I need to work on, and we may finish this up in the next day or two. On a landing gear. I did the landing gear adjustment as I had put on a previous video to try to get this centered for what I hope is very soon going to be the first flight. The landing gear, the little details, the legs, all worked out pretty well. The only thing is, I know for sure, using these type of tires, if we use these at the Nats or on concrete, we need to replace the rubber part of them on a pretty regular basis. Those tires are not going to last indefinitely. One of the things we worked on right from the very beginning, the inception of this plane, and actually the last few planes, is the idea that we could take them. Well, I don't have the pipe in here yet because I haven't made the pipe. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to be able to do, and this was from basically Frank McMillan had told me Ted did it this way, and I assume other people do. So again, we give these guys the credit coming up with this idea of taking a pipe and the engine out, and maybe other people have done it, I don't even know. Now what I did, I made such a tight fit on these carbon fiber mounts, the bolts have no slop at all on them. Remember, they're shoulder bolts if you go back and look at the video. But anyway, if this were to have the pipe, what we want to be able to do is run right out to our test bench, test this, run it on the bench, run it with various props, venturis, different head combinations, and then take it all in one piece and put it right in a plane with the needle valve set all in one piece. And that's one of the goals. It looks like we've accomplished that at this point in time, and having that bottom come off, well, that looks like it's going to work better than I even thought in the very beginning. But first thing I want to do is get the tank out. There's a problem with this, and when I put that third mounting bolt in there, let me put this over here. When I put that third mounting bolt, I forgot when I put this tank in, I need to allow for a little shim of some kind in the back so that the tank back is not rubbing on that bolt head, and obviously eventually it might wear a hole in the tank. Set up 3 different tanks, 3 different ways, just to see how they would work out. Of course I want to have a spare of these, but I'm really excited about the idea of having one of Wayne's tanks. And of course Joe Adamusco makes real custom tanks that I could make just a little bit bigger than this. You can see it wouldn't be, the next bigger size winds up running into the tube. So Joe's going to try to work on that. So by having these tanks, Joe's tanks and Wayne's tanks, it'll give me a lot of choices right at the field. And the whole idea of all of these things, with any pipe engine, with any engine, is to have all the choices. So when you get to the field, you can move things around, shift things, try uniflow, no uniflow. You don't want to be locked into one system. Even if it's a Super Tiger 60, you want to be able to try different things very conveniently. One of the handiest tools I know of, and you could use this on any plane. When I put my tank shim in there, of course, I need this space for the header, but I made up this little tool, and I'll show you what this looks like. It just goes in and pulls out the tank shims. And what it is, it's just a piece of 1/8" wire I've hammered flat in a vise, put about a 90-degree turn, and what that does, it allows you to go in here, move this around at whatever angle you need to have. And in our case here, we have a side shim that holds the angle of the tank. We want to be able to pull it right out. A real handy little tool you can use. And leave it right in a toolbox. That extra bolt that I put in, and good thing I thought of this. See, I'm in such a rush to finish this, I'm starting to leave steps out. I wanted to make a little mark, and what I'm going to do is make a little balsa, I guess, protector plywood. I think with a light ply would be the best, so it wouldn't soften up and wear out. Just make a little half moon of light ply here, and then push it in. Now what I did, I took a Sharpie marker and put some ink on the front of the bolt, and then just run back and press it like that. Give you an idea of where that is. You wouldn't want to put it up here, for instance. So I'll make up a little half moon of that, get it in this position, and then make sure we have it. A little M600 and a couple of sanding scratches here will help this stay in place. Now I'm going to have to keep in mind that all my tanks are going to need to have some kind of a little, I could use a little rubber washer or something back here too. Now that fits, and that little bolt kind of locks in there even. But of course, as you shim it up off the mounts, it won't be a factor, but it still protects it from the head of that bolt. I tell you, I have made many, many planes where getting the tank in and out, getting the motor in and out, the pipe in and out, whatever, was an ordeal. And this one looks like it's going, with all the little, this looks like it's going to work perfectly. Now, of course, we're going to have more than one tank set up. One tank is baloney. You get to wherever you're going and the tank leaks, and that's the end of the day. And I want them all set up that they fit right in. The tubes are all cut, and they're sitting with fuel in them in a plastic bag for backup. What I did, I sealed up all the edges of the tank shim. This is just a temporary tank shim, and of course we're going to be able to, we're making 64th increment tank shims for the bottom and top until we figure out exactly where we want it. But for a first flight, this will certainly do. In the first tank experiment, I always want that lip so I can pull it out. Also, because I have an offset tank in this plane, I want to be able to obviously put it in. For our test flying, what I originally wanted to do, what I was hoping to do anyway, is once I get this totally fine-tuned, I'll solder a washer on here in addition to the wheel collar, or just solder a washer, period. I don't anticipate taking a plane apart every day, but for right now, because we're going to probably take it apart and adjust that push rod a few times or whatever, I have it apart just to switch fuselages. Here's what I've done, is carve an extra notch into the wire, and I'll use 2 wheel collars. And I know Paul Walker has said 1 wheel collar is totally reliable, and yeah, I totally agree with him. 1 probably is, but I know Bob Barron used to use wheel collars, but I'm a coward. I want 2 wheel collars. Probably means you need 3. And it's probably overkill, but like the 3 bolts in the front, I don't know, I'd rather be sorry by having too many wheel collars on it and not enough. Maybe they are dead reliable, but since I haven't crossed this pond yet, I don't want to be the one to find out that they're not that reliable. The thing we want to do is fit up the pipe, and we have a nice selection of different size pipes that we've made, and see which are going to be conveniently fit and some are going to have to be forced to fit or won't fit at all. And again, when we made the bottom block mold, we only had 4 different pipe sizes. Now we have about 6, so we're able to, well, it just gives us more choices in where they're going to exit, And of course what we want to do is do all the testing on the test bench, get them to where they're running the way we want them to run, and I can do that on a bench, and basically then fine-tune them in the plane, get that last little bit of adjustment on a pipe in the plane itself. Now the trick here is to make sure all of these are just generally the sizes that we want to use. But the idea is to make sure that they all fit in without any interference, and it looks like that's the case. It looks like one of the options we'll have with this is to run any of the long flat end pipes, George's pipe, tapered baffle pipe, flat baffle pipe. We've got pretty much, and Midgley's got a whole new Teflon mandrel coming that's a little bit larger, a little bit more. See, the whole trick with pipes is over the years, what happened in 1991 was we had come up with a pipe dimension that was much larger than what people were using, and since then their pipes have gotten a little bit bigger, which is good. And nobody's trying to take any credit for any of this, but the volume of the pipe, just like the Yamaha development program, the volume has gotten bigger over the years. The more volume you seem to have, the better it runs. Also experimented with much larger outlet diameters, some with flat baffles, some with conical 20-degree baffles. And again, we want to have, the thing is, what we want to have is all the choices. I don't want to get to the field and say, oh, this pipe just doesn't fit in the plane. So anything I have to cut or move or twist or whatever now, this is the time to do it. As we've done over the years that's worked real well is the zip ties. I've put little pieces of, it's just the slightest little piece of tubing. 2 or 3, it doesn't even matter, probably 2 would be enough. What this does, as opposed to just putting a zip tie on a pipe, you can see this gives it kind of a little rubber, like a Chinese necklace, and it's been dead reliable. We've never had one either rattle or put a burr in a pipe or scratch in a pipe using this system. Another thing I've learned the hard way about the pipe setups, and on some of the other planes like Strega, if the pipe is really getting close to the wing, what happens, you can burn whatever the center of the wing, if it's fiberglassed or if it's just tissued or whatever it is. We really don't want to have anything burning that center of the wing. So I always make sure, and of course the back of the pipe mount is adjustable. There's a little tube that you can cut to make it higher or lower. But you really don't want it touching. You always, I guess, should allow a 1/16 or more maybe of clearance on that when you do the final setup. I like to start with the pipe length. And remember, on a conical baffle pipe, you measure from the mean average point. Anything from 17 to 18 seems to be the range that these pipes like to run in. So, I would, if you have all the choices in the world, start with the pipe long and shorten it little by little. Don't start with it short and then try to make it longer, because then you have to put those little stubs in. Everybody agrees with this, but I've found whenever I've tried to shorten the header, what happens, the heat in the motor is extreme here, and it drops off little by little by little. You'll notice it's always the front part of the pipe that takes the worst abuse as far as heat goes. So what I try to do is the extra little weight it takes to leave that piece of aluminum, I never try to shorten the header, always shorten the pipe. And if you shorten it past the point that that little aluminum sleeve is in there, clean it all out, put some high temperature resin in it, and reinsert that sleeve. Or the other choice is, with the original pipes we made this oversized so it slid over this like a trombone. All of those possibilities are good, but you don't want to have is a gap in here where there's just rubber. Eventually it'll deteriorate that rubber piece and you'll have a problem or a failure. Now, a good way to tell see, a lot of people make the zip ties so tight that they fail. My test is put the zip tie on and tighten it one click at a time, either with a tool or pliers or wire cutters. Now, if you can't spin it, it's tight enough. As soon as you can't spin it, it's tight enough. Making it tighter than that doesn't do anything real positive. I start my first flights on pipe pressure, but of course I have both of the choices. This is from Noel Drindak. Noel sent me some samples, and they look like, we've been testing them, they look like they work fine. The problem with the tubing I've seen in the past is it's way too heavy, way too thick. You need too many zip ties to seal it up, and it weighs a ton. Well, this is the McMaster car catalog, and I'm hoping my friend Warren Walker is going to send me about 100 feet of this. 3802 is the page number. Noel marked this out, and there's two sizes. There's thick and thin. I prefer the thinner size, and the part number is 48461131, 340 a foot. Well, that's pretty reasonable. When you count that, you can get about 4 or 5, maybe 6, maybe 6 couplers. They're 50 cents a piece that way, and they are super light. The zip ties hold on to them well. And this is from Noel Drindak, and he's passing this on. He's used it for years. I've used it on and off, because what I have is I bought at one time 100 of the couplers from Mac, and I still have a bunch of them. I'm going to use them up. The nice thing about this is very inexpensive. The Mac couplers, in fact, I think are $3 or $4 a piece. Doing it this way, it comes out to about, well, pennies. And I know everybody in the world of stunt loves to save money. They just love every minute of that. I'd suggest if you're using that heavy tubing, I would put 2, and I've seen guys with even 3 zip ties. This is a Mac coupler. The Mac couplers seem to only need 1. Well, again, we'll find out. And we're going to, obviously, in the course of tuning the plane and flight trimming it, make another pipe with the trombone front so that we can move the front, an oversized front, so we can move the front back and forth and do some fine tuning. Then what we do is when we find what we hope is going to be the ideal length, I'll come home and make 3 pipes, one that size, one 1/4 of an inch bigger and 1/4 of an inch smaller. So I don't have any gap at all up here. No gap at all is what I'm looking for. Roger Aldrich had some really neat copper gaskets. They have to be re-drilled for the bolt holes, but the opening is exactly the same. I don't know what motor they're for, but I've used them on a test bench now for 1.5 gallons of fuel and not had any residue come out the back. So that's a good example of little parts. If each person on a team does their part to upgrade things, you know, this is really, well, that's the way I like to work anyway. You know, if you look at this whole package here, we have Randy Smith's spinner, George's prop, parts that come from hobby distributors. Obviously, a jet is not the only engine that's available now, the high-quality engine, but this is certainly one of them. The headers in 2 or 3 different sizes available now. It's all these little things that add up to making it. You can just buy this stuff in the store, and that includes the coupler now, thanks to Noel. That you can buy this. And the one situation in life you don't ever want to run into is where there's only one supplier of things. You don't want to ever have that. If you have choices of 2 or 3 different pipes, 2 or 3 different headers, 2 or 3 different motors, 2 or 3 different spinners, prop, the more choices you can add to the mix. Every time you can add one choice, then you can compare and take the better of the 2 for yourself. You can compare glow plugs, take the better of the 2. Fuel, take the best fuel for you. Now in this case, we've always used PowerMaster fuel with these motors and had absolutely no trouble at all, even with the Super Tiger 60s that we were running last year. Is to fit on our bottom, funny car bottom. Oh, see, I almost forgot. How about, might be nice if we put the pressure line on and a fuel filter. You get so excited when that Danny ruined my whole day. You get so excited, and let's go fly the plane. Now, we need to obviously get a filter on this. And obviously, before we even take it to the field, we'll ground run it a couple of runs. These are the fuel filters that I like to use. The big screen goes toward the tank. And I always like to use that red Prather tubing. Anytime I've switched to some other brand of tubing, I've always wound up with problems. The red Prather tubing, it's worth every penny you pay for it. And these filters, another thing too, I've tried cleaning them and boiling them in alcohol. You know what? What you do when they get clogged up, especially if you pull winter, just throw them away and buy another one. I don't know what the part number 187 or Sullivan, probably available from Brodak. Okay, this is really the easiest way that I could figure out here. The reason I don't want to have multiple vents here is it interferes with getting a tank in and out. And no matter where I place these things, this for sure is the lightest way to do it too, is there's no extra copper at all. And of course, if you don't need the pressure line, you can save 1/4 of an ounce of tubing or whatever. I remember I asked Cassie one time, why don't you run muffler pipe pressure? Oh, too heavy, too heavy. Well, if 1/2 an ounce matters, there it is. Just to fit up the bottom piece, the carbon piece, make sure we have plenty of clearance around everything. And that pretty much puts that puppy together. Well, it's just nice at this point in time to see it all in one piece, and that all the little cowling parts seem to fit pretty well. Don't forget, these are all carbon fiber and they are super thin. So when the next set we make, obviously we'll have some Nomex. We'll try Nomex as an alternative, but this set we had no Nomex on, and I guess we're just going to have to live with the whatever extra weight that not having Nomex brought to the program. But it went together real nice. I like the look out by the scoop. It looks very much like the real one. To me it does anyway. This worked out well, I think. Again, you never really know. We're going to do the final bench trimming on here, but we have a carbon fiber spinner back plate on there. If we need nose weight, that's the first thing that goes on. Again, I'm looking around for any little thing that, before we actually go on to the next step, I want to make sure I haven't done any of my world famous, I forgot to do this or forgot to do that. The one thing I really like is the profile. The side view of this, when it's from the handle, looks really, really great. I hope we're not going to have too much side area in the back, but if we do, we have plenty of razor blades available, that's for sure. Or in the worst case scenario, we could make this whole back piece over again. Now, a couple little tips. Now that the plane is in one piece and up on its feet, so you know, up to this point it was on a pad all the time of some kind. I cut out these little balls. So this I have from Jesus from 10 years ago or something with Strega. Cut the shape of the wheel out. Real complicated. I glue sandpaper to the back, sticky back sandpaper, and I mark which plane it's for because each one of the planes has a different size wheel, theoretically anyway. Now what that does, it keeps it from, look at this, just blowing off the table. And what happens, we have guys walking by here all the time, and they walk by and go boing, or they want to check the controls. And as they're checking the controls, they don't realize they're pulling the plane off the table. So these you can make up, and I always keep a couple sets for other planes. Just a very handy thing to have when you're working on a plane, or in this case, we're going to be doing some other things to it. But at this point, now, we actually, at this point, well, we need weather is what we need. We need a day like Danny had, a nice sunny day, but not today. It will not happen today. So what I do have is I got a box from George Aldrich that I know has some cool stuff in it. And the more stuff, now I could get my props ready. Spare props. This is one of the deep-pitched ones that George used to sell. I think he still sells them. But he sent me some other stuff in there. Let me go through the box. This is funny. This is how George gets even with me. He sends me boxes of packing peanuts all the time, and these things wind up all over the place. George lose the packing peanuts already. God, I just want to get my merchandise out of here. Anyway, I think he said, and this is one of the props he had he was testing. Sent me an ether prop, a 3-blade, used for comparison. Oh, there's an undercambered ether. Okay, so we'll be able to have some comparison props It's a 12 4 1/4 with a lot of undercamber. Again, if you have all the props, you can do the testing. If you don't, I have my own pitch gauge, and I'll set all this up with my own pitch gauge before we even go to the field. Let's see how this looks to begin with. Yeah, that looks like it's good. That might even work right out of the box. And of course, David and Ted prefer these props, but it's not a contest to see who's making the best props. Because even if 6 people were making props, I want some of all of them, and I have some of Dennis's props. So for the first day of flying, I'm just going to concern myself with getting ready with the 3 blades, because I have a whole day of working on 2 blades over there. Now, one of the things I remember from having these props, see this has already been on an engine, of course, but see it has a little lip here. So the first thing I want to do is machine this flat. I don't want this lip sticking up. And then I want to roughen it up. Now, did George roughen this? No, I didn't. I want to roughen up. See, this is not perfectly flat either. I want to get this perfectly flat. And I want to get serrations on this. And then the last thing is I'll check for the balance. Now, getting all my 3 blades ready, just in case tomorrow or Saturday or whenever is going to be a killer nice day. Believe me, it'll be ready. Just throw it in the van and go down the field. Any day now, we're waiting. You can see how much machining you have to do to get that flat, quite a bit. And of course, if that bothers you to have that, well, this would bother me to have the prop come loose. Anyway, I've done both sides now, trued it up. So that part of it, the next thing I'm just going to balance it. I'll polish this out. I don't need to look at that. And these are usually, Brian Ether's props are usually really close to being in balance. This one is highly undercambered. Again, I want to look at the, yeah, it looks like it may be real close to begin with. And I know Ted and David like these props. I had a bunch of these. Years ago, I worked with Brian Ether. I used to pitch props and send them back in the mail. I was the first distributor of Brian Ether props, and now, of course, Tom Lay is. And they are well-made units, no doubt about it. You just got to marry that to the powertrain and the aeroplane. We got a 13-inch. This is a Bill Lee prop. You can see how thin it is at the tip. Very thin. What the purpose here, though, is I just like to look at the various manufacturers. The BY&O is a really high load, relatively works well at a real low RPM. This probably would work real well the way it is on a stock Tiger 60. Anyway, I just like to compare them and see. Of course, the undercambering has a big effect. It loads the prop quite a bit, but the first thing I'll do is get them all balanced, get them off camera, get my whole set of 3 blades all balanced. Another thing too is to make sure the hubs fit tight. To have this sloppy on the hub, the whole prop rides off center then. It's all this stuff that I hope is going to make that first day that we actually get out at the field relatively, well, painless is a relative term. The 3 blades, there's quite a bit of variation in prop load, pitch, etc., etc., etc. Now this is the one I got from Georgia Ether prop. They're usually pretty well balanced when you get them. This one looks real close, in fact. Oh, it's a good idea. Even though props are balanced, before you start the season, or certainly before you try it on a new plane, make sure it's balanced on every blade station. Clarence's for the BY&O, real good balance too. Just the way you get it. One of the things, if you ever watch people and you see a prop come loose, once the engine starts, you can either get hurt, lose an eye. Nothing good can happen when that happens. Now, to put serrations, file marks, anything that roughens up that surface, especially on a carbon prop. And I make the equivalent of a sunburst. Doesn't matter who makes the prop, you need serrations. And of course you need to do both sides. The rougher you can make that, the better off it'll be. I remember this good old-fashioned 2000 grit sanding sponge. This is a great thing for cleaning up carbon props. Now, Brian put some kind of a coating on one side of the prop to make it shiny, which is appearance-wise is very nice, but I don't know, I just prefer it. without that finish, but that's of course a personal taste thing. Yeah, I'm trying to find more and more uses for this material. This has turned out to be one of the staples of the shop now. You know, what I want to do is, where I did the machining on this, I just want to blend it in. I don't want to have it, well, the appearance of it anyway. Since we put so much time into this model, try to get the final little details on it. And then the last thing, I'll go over this with some Gorhams, just to clean it up, make it nice and smooth, and rebalance it, of course. This was the gauge that we ultimately wound up with at the end of last year. And you can see this has just a little bit more, the leading edge is up off the gauge, just a tad more pitch than what we wound up with on Strega, but I always want to start off with the prop stock. These props, when you let them sit over the winter, sometimes they do change. It only takes a minute to check it. That's what's nice about the gauge. And I only check it an inch from the tip. It's all I care about. Everything else, oh, this one really changed over the winter. But we'll get them all dialed in before we actually get to the field. This little finish. Now I got to caution you, one thing's happened to me many times is I'm using Gorhams like this and you get a splinter. So you want to really go over, I've gone over this prop with the 1200 sandpaper real carefully. It's sanding sponge. See, there's a splinter right there, in fact. The thing will catch, and if you don't get it. Now, the reason I like to do this polishing is not so much for appearance, but so when I'm flipping a prop and wiping a plane off, I don't wind up with a razor under my fingernail. You could be flipping and all of a sudden you're looking. Even with that protector, that rubber, I've seen it go through. Now I've been waiting for this little test too. Now we have a 52 grain pipe in here, and of course we have lighter pipes that go down to 40 grams. So that's, I have to take that into account. We already have the carbon back plate, and again, there's no nose weight in the plane. Now I don't know if we're going to need an ounce of nose weight, a tail weight, but it's got 2 ounces of tip weight in it, and that's about probably a ½ ounce of that'll come out. And we're right at, with the carbon fiber body, we're right at, looks like 55. But again, that could go to 56 with trim weight if you need nose weight. And you could lighten it up probably by an ounce, ounce and a half, just by putting real small wheels on it. I want it to have the scale looking wheels. The other fuselage, when I weigh all the component parts, were just under 3 ounces heavier, so that makes it a 58 ounce plane with the wood body. So even if we use the wood body, it's not going to be the end of the world. But the carbon fiber body, I just like the idea. We're down in the mid 50s, and we'll have a real good shot at, if we need to add a little weight, somewhere in the course of this thing, I hope we can, well, I don't know that you want to get a whole lot lighter than that anyway. But I know once we get, and by the way, Midgley called today, the Nomex is at his house. Once we have the Nomex to make the fuselage, we can eliminate all the formers. We can eliminate everything. We could run a pipe right through the middle of the fuselage if we want, with that, once we have the Nomex. And that was a big job. It isn't as easy as it sounds, getting Nomex. Nomex was kind of a tricky thing to buy without having to pay $1,000 for the quantity. So anyway, we're coming up on a point we're going to start making the wing, the mold for the wing. And I'm guessing as soon as we have that Nomex, a week later, we're going to hopefully have the mold for the carbon fiber wing. And the Nomex, we may even, before the Nats, get the Nomex elevators and flaps on this guy. But anyway, there's a lot of exciting things still yet to be done, still yet to be tested, still yet to be worked on. But knowing that we're starting at about 55 ounces, I guess that makes me, I know Larry Cunningham will just be jumping and jiggling thinking, wow. I know he's all impressed by lightweight planes. I'm a little less impressed by lightweight planes, but I still like, I'd rather start off light than start off at 75, where I've done in the past. Hard to get 75 ounce planes to fly. Very easy to get them to fly when they're a lot lighter. And I think that's the difference. Now we're almost at the end of this tape as Mike gets ready to jump off the roof again. My whole roof is in the driveway, and it doesn't look like, even though we have a nice day, there's just too much work today to If I don't do some of this, this just builds up out here. And I am the boy that does all these gracious jobs like cleaning up. And it's a wonderful time of the year to be alive. It's a wonderful time. What am I talking about? Just living in America at this point in time and listening to chainsaws in the background. Anyway, we've had a lot of setbacks along the way in the last year. Some serious, some just a pain, but when this time of year comes, Rutherford's a beautiful place to be. Not as beautiful as Anaheim, but ask this frog, he'll tell you. Anyway, the Miss Ashley project is roaring to a close here, and I hope very soon. If you only knew how I was itching to get out there and fly. And Danny beat me to it, but hey, maybe we can even get some flights with him in the upcoming weeks. Plane is just super. Congratulations again to Danny. Congratulations to Bob Hunt on a great design. And boy, I'll tell you, I'm just ready to go flying here. Ready to stop listening to these chainsaws. Hey again, thanks for joining us. Please pass the tapes around, enjoy them, share them with your friends. Share the hobby with your friends. Send me a couple of pictures, I'll put them on the video, put them in Stunt News. Now just as an overview, this plane was a long time from when we actually started it to making all the molds to finishing it. And I really feel like in a small way I've accomplished something significant, but again, I just hope from this point on the flight trimming, and if you're going to be with us, all the subscribers, you know, we'll share the highs, we'll share the lows, we'll share the disappointments one way or another. I just hope we're not sharing another roofing job in my lifetime. The idea of doing this roof, Mike is just throwing that stuff off, is in my lifetime, the little of it that's left, I don't want to ever do another roof. That's my main goal. And I want to thank all the people that have shared this project right from the very beginning, shared their ideas, shared their technology. Thanks to George, of course, and John Brodak. Hey, thanks to everybody that makes all the parts and all these little doodads that we need. Brian Ether. Everybody. Keep in mind those Brodak candy apple colors are right around the corner from being on your hobby shop shelf. Hope to get those tested this week. We got another neat thing. We got a laser alignment tool using a laser. I haven't even unpacked it yet. We'll do that on the next tape. Hey, what we'll do is check the alignment on this and see how accurate the system that we used was or is or will be or can be. Laser alignment tool is now available. They're commercially available. I had thought about making one for years, but hey, when you can buy one for $39, just buy it. Got anything you want to say to Frank McMillan? Holy crow, my roof, my roof. My house is in a dumpster.
You put that camera down, put some tools on, come on up here.
I'll be right up. Trust me. Trust me, I'll be right up. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Again, it's the end of the tape and we have to run up the ladder. The boss is calling. See, we don't get to play every day here. The boss is summoning me. But anyway, this has been one of my favorite projects of all time, and I just want to share it with you, end the tape. Hope that you'll send me some pictures of your latest project. And coming soon, and hopefully within the scope of our technologies, will be one-piece carbon fiber wings. And we'll make them that we can fit it right into this fuselage or our extra fuselage. It'll be a very interesting comparison, being able to pull out the wood wing, put the carbon wing in. In this case, we can take off the carbon fiber fuselage, put on a wood fuselage, and we suffer a 3-ounce weight penalty by doing that. But even at 58 ounces, this is a 750-inch plane. I don't think that's bad. God, it's been a long year. This has really been a challenge. And again, I want to thank everybody. And we hope to see you on the next tape. And I guess that's what it would look like with retracts. See you on the next tape.